Based on what you've seen at 49ers training camp and the preseason, does 2024 seem like it's going to be a Super Bowl hangover season, in your opinion?
Yeah, yes and no. It feels like they're going to have a slow start, but they had slow starts in 2021 and 2022 and went to the NFC Championship both times. So I don't know, but I feel like the difference this year is Kyle. In the past, they fell short, but I don't think the whole team looked at it as Kyle's fault. I think this year the team looks at it as Kyle's fault. They had the team, they had the lead, they won the coin flip, and Kyle blew it. And I think it's going to be interesting if they do start out 2-4 this year. Are they going to have that same belief in him to be able to pull off that run that they did 2 years ago? Or are they starting to look at him as like, dude, what is your problem? We're the best team in the league and you're fumbling this. I don't know. Or they could just have hella injuries, man. So far, that's sort of been the theme of the offseason. Just injury after injury after injury, which is something that happens with the Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah. So, your initial answer was yes and no. So I want to, I guess, branch off into two different scenarios. Give us, make the case if it is going to be a Super Bowl hangover, what is giving you that, that notion, and how does it compare to the vibes that you got from the team last season, in terms of their preparation and injury luck?
They seemed energized and determined last year. Like they felt their season was cut short and they were like dying to get back on the field. That's what it felt like. All of them, except for Nick Bosa, who was going through this quiet standoff. This year, it feels like they're exhausted, they're burnt out, and they're not particularly eager for the season to start or ready for the season to start. Like they're like, yeah, we've done this a lot of times. We've climbed this mountain a lot of times. Like we'll flip the switch when it's time. We know what it takes, but it doesn't seem like a team that's itching to start the season. Like they don't have their team yet. They haven't worked it out with two of their most important players. They're not quite ready.
So in your opinion, you wouldn't say that if they did get off to a slow start, it's not too late for them to turn it around in the season. You can't count them out.
Definitely can't count them out. They're one of the older teams in the league. They've done this before. They frequently make a trade at the trade deadline, which changes things. They do that. So, and they have so much pressure on them. They're not just going to fall off and say, oh, well, unless it can't, of course, there's hella injuries. Like if Christian McCaffrey goes down, if Brock Purdy goes down, this team's in a lot of trouble. And they've had injuries at quarterback and running back any number of times. So we'll see. If Trent Williams misses a few games and Brock Purdy goes down, I would wonder what people would think of Kyle Shanahan then, because it would be his fault.
Yeah. And so if the 49ers do not experience a Super Bowl hangover, what would be the reason? What would give you optimism, on why they could overcome what many teams have experienced after losing a Super Bowl?
Talent, leadership, and maybe an infusion of youth finally. The last two drafts sucked, but this draft seems like, Ricky Pearsall aside, and he's just been hurt. A lot of the other young guys have made impressions. Pooney's starting. Renardo Green seems to be in the nickel defense. Garendo looks like a good kick returner. Malik Mustafa could be starting. Freaking Jacob Cowing looks nice. And then Kingston and Bethune look like guys who could potentially become starters down the line. That's huge. And I think that's kind of what, and the emergence of Jordan Mason, this team needs something fresh, something new to propel it, because the core, the Cabo clique, whatever you want to call them, they just seem worn out, a little tired, a little old. So Jacob Cowing, Jordan Mason, Renardo Green, Dominic Pooney, that next wave is big. And Brock's really good. They can keep him upright and give him some time. He's a really good quarterback. I don't see him just doing the Jimmy Garoppolo fall off fade like Jimmy Garoppolo did.
No, I think you bring up, a lot of excellent points, A+ points, like
thank
we
you so
stated
much.
in the contract.
You almost said pretty good. I almost lost my mind.
Yeah, no,